More than 200 million years ago, the Earth was a crucible of colossal power, a world defined by seismic shifts and biological ambition. The Mesozoic Era, a time when mountains groaned into existence and oceans swallowed continents. On the terrestrial stage, the dinosaurs were the undisputed royalty, their titanic legs shaking the very foundations of the world. But their reign had a ceiling. For in the heat-shimmered distance, a new ambition was taking shape, one destined to fracture the very sky. This is a realm governed by one immutable law. The hunger of the great devours the need of the small. Survival is a moment-to-moment negotiation, and sometimes the threat does not stalk from the forest line or rise from the swamp. Sometimes it descends. Watch the young ceratopsian. It senses a disruption in the air, a shadow that shouldn't be there. Above the feeding ground, a silhouette begins to take shape against the bruised morning sky. Not a storm cloud, but a gargantuan, dark geometry of bone and membrane. The ground shudders, but not from its landing. The movement is precise, calculated. With a sound like tearing canvas, the predator locks its massive, hollow limbs and descends in a controlled, terrifying collapse of atmosphere. This is no mere bird of prey. This is the Quetzalcoatlus, the titan whose name invokes the feathered serpent god of Mesoamerica. In an instant of breathtaking brutality, the predator is on the ground, but it does not strike immediately. It stands at a height comparable to a fully grown giraffe, dwarfing the juvenile. Its head, a bizarre, elongated weapon, is held low, its distantado beak gleaming with a chilling, prehistoric patience. It is an Azhdarkid, a creature designed not for the sea, but for the swift, uncompromising execution of land-bound life. And just like that, the sky had reclaimed its tribute. This was the dawn of the Air Lords. They were not dinosaurs, but a distinct revolutionary lineage, the Pterosaurs, the first vertebrates in the history of this planet to achieve powered flight. And the story of their conquest, a saga of biological genius, ruthless adaptation, and gravity-defying grace, is the untold epic of the Mesozoic. The story of the Pterosaurs begins not with a roar, but with a whisper of biological necessity. For over 200 million years, from the late Triassic to the devastating close of the Cretaceous, they held a monopoly on the skis. This was a direct, head-on challenge to physics, a revolution born from cataclysmic changes. The early Mesozoic was an era of intense selection pressure, pushing life forms to exploit every available ecological niche. The secret to their unprecedented success lay in an anatomy revolutionary. Imagine the limitations of terrestrial vertebrates at the time. Heavy bones, dense musculature, gravity's cruel dominance. Pterosaurs cast off this biological baggage. Their bones were hollow, laced with intricate internal struts, a masterpiece of natural engineering, lighter than the bones of modern birds, yet possessing immense tensile strength. This ultralight frame wasn't just an advantage, it was the prerequisite for their dominion. the true miracle was the wing. The pterosaur wing was not feathered, but a vast, leathery membrane, the patagium, stretched taut from a hyper-elongated fourth finger all the way down to the ankle. This single, extraordinary digit acted as the main structural spar, allowing for an immense surface area and incredible control. Unlike the flight of bats or birds, the pterosaur wing was dynamic, flexible, and powerful, allowing for a propulsed flight that no creature had managed before. Their evolutionary trajectory was an explosion of diversity. From creatures the size of a sparrow, capable of darting through dense jungles, to the true colossal envergaduras, wingspans exceeding 30 feet. Each species an attempt to solve the riddle of the sky in a unique way. They became the ultimate diversified strategists, coastal fishers, insectivorous aerial nets, and even, shockingly, apex land predators. They were the pioneers, the biological astronauts who broke the gravitational barrier. They navigated wind shear, mapped vast, unseen air currents, and hunted across atmospheric strata where no dinosaur could follow. For 150 million years, they weren't just survivors, they were the absolute kings of the prehistoric sky. Of all the pterosaurs, none looms larger in the imagination, or indeed in the air, than the Quetzalcoatlus. Reigning supreme in the late Cretaceous skis of North America, particularly over what is now Texas and New Mexico, this animal was the absolute zenith of biological scale in flight. Named in honor of the Aztec feathered serpent, it was a creature so vast it defied contemporary biological logic. Imagine standing on the desolate prairie. Above you, a silhouette passes, not of a great bird, but of a small single-engine airplane. That was the envergadura colossal of this giant. Its wings could stretch over 35 feet, and when standing, it looked you eye to eye at the height of a giraffe. It was a biological conundrum, challenging the very limites biologicos del vuelo. How could something this massive stay airborne? The answer again lay in the ultralight structure. While its wingspan was comparable to a bus, its body mass was estimated to be only around 500 pounds, less than many flightless birds of today. This was the most efficient, natural engineering ever conceived for an animal of its size. But its flight was reserved for soaring, for traversing hundreds, perhaps thousands, of miles on thermal currents, gliding with unmatched efficiency. Drama of the Quetzalcoatlus was on the ground. For decades, scientists believed it must have been a magnificent pescador dipping its long beak into the waters. But the fossil record told a different, far more chilling story. Its neck, while long, was immensely muscular. Its beak was powerful, and its legs were long and adapted for ground movement. This Azhdarkid did not haunt the coastlines, it patrolled the vast inland territories. It was not a fisherman, it was, for all intents and purposes, a cigüeña del infierno, a stork of the damned. It stalked the ground, its height granting it a terrifying advantage, an elevated mobile watchtower over the landscape. Its prey was pequeñas presas, juvenile dinosaurs, small mammals, lizards. It would use its height to spot them, then descend with the swift, unforgiving precision we saw earlier, using its pico distentado like a massive pair of forceps to snatch and swallow its victims whole. It was the ultimate opportunist, the perfect blend of aerial scout and terrestrial ambush predator. And its takeoff, another marvel. To get a body of that size, airborne required more than a simple wing flap. The Quetzalcoatlus employed a despeg quadrupedo. It would essentially launch itself off the ground using all four limbs. The powerful forward stroke of its wings, combined with a massive, vaulting push from its legs, a jump start from the ground into the air. This combination of size, flight efficiency, NL planeo, and brutal terrestrial hunting cemented its legacy as one of the most sublime and terrifying creatures evolution has ever produced. It was a god, made of air and bone, ruling the North American plains. Our journey takes us now to a land molded by the most brutal of evolutionary forces, island gigantism. In the isolated archipelago of what is now Romania, the constraints of a small, finite landmass force life into extreme adaptations. Here, in the confines of the island Hateg, a pterosaur evolved that deliberately rejected the grace of its relatives. This was the Hatzegopteryx. In an isolated ecosystem, size often dictates survival. Where resources are limited, the existing species either shrink, island dwarfism, or in the absence of major predators, they seize the vacated throne. The Hatzegopteryx chose the latter. This creature evolved a Constitución pesada y robusta, a shocking deviation from the ultralight standard of its lineage. Unlike its North American cousins, the Hatzegopteryx sacrificed the capacity for long flights for pure brute power. Its neck shortened, becoming thick and immensely muscled, a shock absorber for its massive head. Its skull, estimated to be 3 feet long and perhaps 1.5 feet wide, was not light and specialized, but reforzado, a biological battering ram built for impact. Why this brutal re-engineering? Because on Hateg Island, the usual rules of the Mesozoic did not apply. The typical grands pteropods, the massive tyrannosaurs and allosaurs that dominated the mainland, were absent. The largest terrestrial predators were dwarfed by the island's strange isolation. The throne was empty. The Hatzegopteryx filled that vacuum. It became the Depredador alpha terrestre. Its wings were still capable of flight, but its primary hunting ground was the ground. It didn't stalk prey with surgical precision like the Quetzalcoatlus. It cornered them with sheer, terrifying mass and the threat of catastrophic force. Its hunting method was the very definition of savagery. Using its massivo culo y cráneo reforzado, it would deliver golpes devastadores, a quick, crushing impact designed to disable or kill instantly. Its head was not just a beak, it was a bludgeon, a weapon of overwhelming terminal velocity. It was the Verdugo, the executioner of Hateg, a winged fiend that chose to dominate the Sulo Mas Quail Vinto. This was the Triunfo de la Fuerza sobre la Ligereza. It reminds us that evolution is not sentimental. It simply demands a solution to the immediate problem. If the problem is being the biggest, most powerful killer on an island, then you must become the heaviest, most intimidating life form possible, even if it means sacrificing the elegance of your lineage. The Hatzegopteryx was the undisputed res insula, proving that sometimes the true path to dominance is grounded in overwhelming power. From the humid, insulated violence of Hateg, we journey to the vast, frias y vastas llanuras of ancient Canada. This is a frontier of scarcity, where survival is not measured by raw power, but by adaptability. Here reign the cryodraken, the frozen dragon, a giant that mastered the art of compromise.
It's amazing to see such a majestic creature up close.
The environment of the North, a place of long, dark winters and unpredictable food sources, demanded a creature that was both colossal and cautious. The cryodraken was a gigant versatile, one that expertly balanced the magnificencia del tamaño, with a wingspan likely comparable to Quetzalcoatlus, with an adaptabilidad extrema crucial for northern survival. To survive here, you must cover ground, and the cryodraken was exceptionally good at it. Its anatomy allowed it to caminar grandes distances, covering enormous territories in search of food. It was a tireless nomad, a ground-level scout utilizing its height to peer over the sparse landscape, searching for any opportunity. Its existence was a constant high-stakes game against the most terrifying predators the world has ever known. This was the hunting ground of the Tyrannosauridos, the mighty Albertosaurus and its kin. The cryodraken could not defeat them in a fight, so it used its most precious asset, the sky. It mastered the art of elevation, the capacity to elevarse para escapar de depredadores at a moment's notice. The dragon helado prospered not through specialization, but through opportunismo. Its diet was varied, a flexible menu dictated by the harsh realities of the north. It would alternate between caza activa, snatching small prey with its beak, and the dangerous, but necessary, pursuit of caronia, feeding off the leftovers of the great tyrannosaurs. It was a high-risk, high-reward strategy. Its ability to thrive in climas rigurosos and cubria enormes territorios demonstrated a profound truth. In a world of extremes, intelligentsia y la flexibilidad were just as vital as strength. The cryodraken was the ultimate survivor, a winged diplomat negotiating the terms of its existence in the hostile, frozen tapestry of the north. It teaches us that resilience is found in the willingness to change roles, to be a hunter one day, a scavenger the next, and always a master of escape. Our journey pivots now to the southern hemisphere, to the edge of the ancient supercontinent de Gondwana, where the tropical seas kissed the Australian coast. Here, evolution favored the specialist, the master of precision and speed. Here, the Thapangaka was born. This magnificent creature rose as the largest known pterosaur of the Hemispheriosur, a predator specifically engineered for the marine environment. The name itself, derived from the local indigenous language, means spear mouth, a perfect description of its unique, formidable weapon. The Thapangaka was a large anangairido distinguished by its extraordinary specialization, a boca en forma de lanza. Its beak was long, narrow, and devastatingly efficient, but what truly set it apart were its defenses. It was armada con diencefilados, thin, needle-like projections designed to maximize grip on slippery prey, and along its snout, crestas aerodynamicas, bony ridges, acted to stabilize its head during high-speed maneuvers. If the Thapangaka was the spear, the pteranodon was the scalpel. This is perhaps the most iconic image of the pterosaur age, a creature that has come to represent the perfección aerodynamica. Patrolling the immense, shallow depths of the western interior seaway, a body of water that bisected North America, the pteranodon was the ultimate ocean glider. Its defining characteristics were a lesson in efficiency. Its body was extremodimedlydro, its bones thin almost to the point of transparency. Its wings, long and narrow, were perfectly designed for planiodynamico. This was a creature that didn't waste energy. It would ride the subtle wind gradients over the waves, utilizing the difference in air speed between the sea surface and the air just above it, allowing it to traverse distantias oceanicas with a gasto enegatico minima. Its most famous feature is its cresta. This long, bony projection extending back from its skull served multiple potential purposes: a rudder for steering in the air, a display feature for mating rituals, and most importantly, a counterbalance. This crest acted as a counterweight to the pico especializado para la pesca, a long, distantado instrument that allowed it to scoop fish from the water's surface without breaking its graceful stride. Its entire existence was a study in balance. The long, slender beak and the massive crest at the back of its skull gave it a visual and physical equilibrium necessary for the high-wire act of aerial fishing. It was a creature of gran intelligentia visual y equilibrio, spotting the tiny disturbance of fish from hundreds of feet in the air before descending in a gentle, yet precise, glide. Yet even this zenith of aerial design was subject to the cruelty of the sea. While it was the master of the air, the ocean beneath was the domain of true giants. The pteranodons, sometimes Caepressa de monstruos marinos, the great serpentine reptiles of the seaway. A slight miscalculation, a dive too deep, and the elegant flyer could become a sudden, tragic meal. But its fate does not negate its legacy. Its design represented the culminación de la eficiencia agria, uniting pure elegancia y funcionalidad in an organism that, for millions of years, defined the horizon. The pteranodon was the final, perfect iteration of the pterosaur's mastery of flight. history of the pterosaurs is a story far grander than simply being the backdrop to the age of dinosaurs. It is a powerful relato de un mundo where the sky was not empty, but poblado por formas de vida asombrosas y diversas. They were not footnotes, but protagonistas complejos that molded their ecosystems for an epoch. Their legacy is one of extremes, of necessity, and of genius. They showed us the full spectrum of aerial possibility, from the caminantes terrestres like the Hatzegopteryx, who abandoned the sky for a terrestrial crown, to the pescadores oceanicos like the pteranodon, who used the wind as their only engine. Each species found its unique path to dominion. For millions of years, they defied gravity and dominated the atmosphere until the final great cataclysm swept them and their dinosaur neighbors from the face of the earth. The infinite creativity of evolution is the true, enduring lesson of the pterosaurs. Their magnificent disappearance reminds us that even the most perfect design, the most absolute dominion, is temporary. Yet their story endures as a testament to the biological imperative, to survive, to adapt, and to conquer the seemingly impossible. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss the next epic saga we unearth from the depths of time.